So in this video, I'm going to show you how I'm using Trello in my Composition 1 and 2 courses. If you're not familiar with Trello, it's a really interesting program that basically it's designed as an organizational kind of to-do list tool. But I wanted to kind of show you how I'm leveraging the way that works into a classroom activity sort of thing. So basically what Trello is it's a series of boards where you can post columns of content. And it's a great collaborative tool if you're working in groups, if you've got, I mean, even beyond education, if you're working on some sort of team project or something, you can all go in and contribute to this board and have all this content posted. I've used this in groups at conferences and things like that. And it's very cool because it updates in real time and it's web-based so people can see it happening. And there's a really nice iOS app for it as well. For our purposes here, as you can see, I've got these different boards here. Now, you can create as many boards as you want and do whatever you want with them. I've created this board called Descriptive Essay number 1, as you can see, and then after that, number 2, number 3. I've got a set of boards for my process analysis essay that we're going to be working on later in the semester. So the reason I have the different versions here is basically if I wanted the whole class to collaborate on one descriptive essay board, I could do that. I could just create one and put everyone in there and they'd all have access to it. But since I have a really small class, I don't want them working in groups this time. I want them to sort out what I've done in each of these boards individually so that each student has access to his or her own board. So basically what I did was I created one board and I just duplicated it so I can invite one student per board, and that way everyone has access to their own board to do what they need to do with it. So let me show you what I'm talking about when I say that they're going to have to organize content. So one of the things that we're covering early at this point in the semester is the idea of essay organization. And as many of you know, if you've ever taught any sort of intro comp class, this is a kind of an abstract concept for students initially. If they haven't done a lot of writing, they haven't really been pushed to develop essays that are coherent and flow in a kind of a natural and clear way. It can be very confusing, and sometimes things that seem very basic to a seasoned writer, to someone who's had experience doing this, really is not an inherently a natural thing for a student at this level. So what I've done here is, rather than the to-do list format that's going to be the default when you go into Trello, I've created an introduction column here to represent the introductory paragraph. I've created body 1, body 2, and body 3, and these are designed to represent 3 body paragraphs in a 5-paragraph essay. And then over here, as you can see, we've got this conclusion column. So what I've done is, when you create a card in Trello, basically you're creating whatever you want. It'll turn it into like a little index card looking type thing, and it'll put it in this list, and then you can just keep adding as many as you want. And then you can add individual people to individual cards or columns. You can create labels and stickers and all sorts of things for it. So for my purposes, what I wanted to do is I wanted to create an assignment where students kind of had to adopt the old cut-up principle, where they had to take individual elements, individual sentences in this case, from an essay and organize them in a way that they thought was correct. So the way that I've done that is I created a whole bunch of sentences. I created some for the introduction column, some for the first body paragraph, some for the second body paragraph, some for the third body paragraph, and then finally a couple for the conclusion. And what I did then is, when the student accesses this board, he or she will see this column of sentences that are all mixed up. And they're designed to be out of order. So what he or she will then do is go in here and decide, all right, well, I think this one goes over into body paragraph number 3, so I'll stick this one over here. And then they're just going to go through like that on their own, one by one, and figure out where they think these sentences go. And they're going to have to go through and look for common, keywords, connected phrases, things like that, and so to determine where these different sentences are going to go in this paper. And then we'll sit around and talk about it and determine, what the best approach was. What I did in this particular case, because I think it's important right now for my students to see that there are different ways to approach this. There are a few cases where individual sentences might fit in different paragraphs, and that would be okay. There are certain sentences that might fit in the conclusion as well as they would fit in the introduction, but you'd have to figure out what order they should go in, that sort of a thing. So I really want them to be thinking about the organizational aspect of this and not just trying to plug things into paragraphs just because they have words in common and things like that. So this is basically the way Trello is set up. So you can create these cards and then move them around wherever you want to. Now the cool thing about this is obviously you can see just from the way that it's organized that it makes a really nice organizational tool for to-do lists or for project management, things like that. But what you might want to see just kind of in general is how you would create a board. So let's say you wanted to create something new. So we'll go up here to new board, and we'll just call this video test. It's set to private right now, but then you can also make it public, so someone would just need the link and they could go there and participate. So as you can see down here in my boards, it added it to that little category down there. So now we've got this video test board. It's set for private. I can star it so that it'll show up in my starred boards top of the list there. So by default it has a to-do, a doing, and a done column. And basically over here is where I would add members. So here's where I've added my students and the other boards. And then you can view an activity log over here if you need to. In terms of features, it's not super robust in terms of features, but you don't really need tons of features for this kind of a thing. They're, like I said, they're what they call power-ups in here, which are ways for you to kind of make this a little bit more interactive. You can allow people to vote on cards, that sort of a thing. You can have the cards age visibly if you want them to. You can add stickers, so if you want this to be something that's a kind of an ongoing tool that you're using in your class through the course of a term or through the course of a project or something like that, you can go in here and add stickers and things like that. I don't want to load right now. And then you can also, just do kind of basic settings like changing the background and subscribing to a board so you can see when students update it or when people who are collaborating on a board with you go in and do something. And then you can also share it. You can share it with people just with a link. You can print it. So there's a lot you can do in terms of the way that this is organized. And I think for our purposes, it's a lot more helpful, I've discovered, for my students to kind of participate in something like this than it is to just kind of throw a bunch of information at them about how it should work. And I think this is, so far this has proved to be a really cool way of kind of getting them working on things. They're all using the same tool, but they're using it in their own way, and it kind of personalizes the experience a little bit, especially for students who might be a little bit reluctant to speak up in class. I've found this to be a more effective tool in cases where I'm saying, all right, well, what sentences would go in the introduction, and then I hear crickets. I want to get people engaged. I want them to participate. Maybe they don't want to speak up for fear of being wrong. So this is kind of a cool way for them to go in and do it the way that they think it should be done. And then afterwards we can kind of talk about why they made the choices they made and, why did this go in this paragraph versus this paragraph and that sort of a thing. So again, a very brief look at what I consider to be a pretty interesting tool so far in my using it. And I'm going to kind of continue playing around with this, and I'll see what I can come up with as far as other uses for it. And if I land on something that I think is worth sharing, I will post a Trello sequel video. But I hope this has been useful, and I hope you've at least gotten an idea of how this works and maybe even gotten some ideas of how you would use this in your own classroom.